Every meeting where you remain silent is an opportunity lost. This video will empower you to speak up, be heard, and communicate confidently in English. Beginning with a powerful practice technique you can implement today. How to speak English confidently in meetings. Step-by-step practice. Here's the plan. First, you'll listen to a genuine business meeting conversation. Next, we'll engage in shadowing to enhance your fluency. Then, we'll explore key vocabulary that you can effectively use in your own meetings. After that, you'll participate in a speaking challenge to stretch your comfort zone. Finally, I'll provide a recap, homework, and a downloadable meeting template for you to practice or role-play with friends. Check the video chapter timetable in the description to help you navigate your learning experience with this video. Are you ready? Let's dive into the meeting scene.
Good morning, everyone. As we all know, improving customer satisfaction is crucial for our success in the market. Today, Anna from HR will lead this meeting. Anna, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Good morning, everyone. I appreciate your presence at today's meeting. I trust you've reviewed the meeting materials shared beforehand. If you haven't had the chance, please take the next 10 minutes to skim through them so we can all be on the same page. Let's ensure we're aligned before diving in. Today, we will discuss the proposed enhancements to our customer journey and decide on our next steps. I encourage an interactive session. Please feel free to challenge anything that seems unclear or unrealistic.
I noticed that the slide lists post-purchase follow-up as an optional step. I believe it should be mandatory, otherwise we risk losing repeat customers.
I appreciate your viewpoint, Maria. The reason it's marked as optional is that not all customers require the same level of follow-up. However, if the team agrees, we could consider making it mandatory for premium clients. What does everyone think?
I agree with Maria. Basic follow-up could indeed enhance customer loyalty. However, making it mandatory will require additional staff hours, which will increase costs.
That's a valid point, Leo. It's a trade-off between customer satisfaction and operational costs. Ravi, could you provide an estimate of the extra time this would require per client?
If we automate part of the process using the processing engine, we could reduce the time to just 5 minutes per client.
That's encouraging. In that case, I'm inclined to make it mandatory, though we should confirm this after reviewing the budget.
I have a concern regarding the seamless experience aspect. We plan to implement a mobile-friendly integration, but will it also support older devices? If not, we risk alienating a segment of our customer base.
That's a reasonable concern. Ravi, do we have any compatibility testing data for older devices?
Not yet, but we can schedule it for next week. The challenge is that some very old devices may need a simplified version of the app.
Understood. Please prepare a proposal for that. Before we proceed, I've noticed that some of you haven't had the opportunity to speak. Your insights from the support and sales perspectives would be incredibly valuable.
From my support calls, I can confirm that customers often struggle to find the help documentation. I suggest placing it on the homepage and adding a search bar.
My only concern is about implementing all these changes at once. It could overwhelm customers who are accustomed to the old interface. Perhaps we should roll out updates gradually, starting with the processing engine upgrade.
That's a valid suggestion, Faisal. We can plan for a phased rollout beginning with back-end improvements, followed by visual and process updates. I appreciate you bringing that up before we finalize our plan. To summarize today's discussion, first, we need to make post-purchase follow-up mandatory, incorporating automation to minimize time. Second, ensure the mobile-friendly integration is compatible with older devices. Third, improve the visibility of help documentation. Finally, implement a phased rollout to avoid overwhelming customers. And this is our follow-up action notes. First, Maria from Marketing will draft a revised customer journey flow with mandatory post-purchase follow-up for both premium and standard clients. Deadline, Wednesday. Second, Ravi from the tech team will prepare a cost estimate for automation through the processing engine and begin compatibility testing on older devices. Deadline, next Monday. Third, Nina from support will redesign the help documentation placement and propose a new homepage layout with a search bar. Deadline, Friday. Fourth, Faisal from sales will develop a phased rollout plan and share it with the team for feedback. Deadline, Thursday. And I will compile meeting notes and share them in the project channel by the end of the day. Is there anything else anyone would like to add before we conclude? If not, I'll hand it back to you, Mr. Carter.
Thank you all for your active participation and contributions today. I hope we can swiftly implement the ideas we've discussed to enhance our customer experience.
Time for speaking practice. Repeat after me, sentence by sentence, imitating the pronunciation, intonation, and speed.
Good morning, everyone. As we all know, improving customer satisfaction is crucial for our success in the market. Today, Anna from HR will lead this meeting. Anna, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Good morning, everyone. I appreciate your presence at today's meeting. I trust you've reviewed the meeting materials shared beforehand. If you haven't had the chance, please take the next 10 minutes to skim through them so we can all be on the same page. Let's ensure we're aligned before diving in. Today, we will discuss the proposed enhancements to our customer journey and decide on our next steps. I encourage an interactive session. Please feel free to challenge anything that seems unclear or unrealistic.
I noticed that the slide lists post-purchase follow-up as an optional step. I believe it should be mandatory, otherwise we risk losing repeat customers.
I appreciate your viewpoint, Maria. The reason it's marked as optional is that not all customers require the same level of follow-up. However, if the team agrees, we could consider making it mandatory for premium clients. What does everyone think?
I agree with Maria. Basic follow-up could indeed enhance customer loyalty. However, making it mandatory will require additional staff hours, which will increase costs.
That's a valid point, Leo. It's a trade-off between customer satisfaction and operational costs. Ravi, could you provide an estimate of the extra time this would require per client?
If we automate part of the process using the processing engine, we could reduce the time to just 5 minutes per client.
That's encouraging. In that case, I'm inclined to make it mandatory, though we should confirm this after reviewing the budget.
I have a concern regarding the seamless experience aspect. We plan to implement a mobile-friendly integration, but will it also support older devices? If not, we risk alienating a segment of our customer base.
That's a reasonable concern. Ravi, do we have any compatibility testing data for older devices?
Not yet, but we can schedule it for next week. The challenge is that some very old devices may need a simplified version of the app.
Understood. Please prepare a proposal for that. Before we proceed, I've noticed that some of you haven't had the opportunity to speak. Your insights from the support and sales perspectives would be incredibly valuable.
From my support calls, I can confirm that customers often struggle to find the help documentation. I suggest placing it on the homepage and adding a search bar.
My only concern is about implementing all these changes at once. It could overwhelm customers who are accustomed to the old interface. Perhaps we should roll out updates gradually, starting with the processing engine upgrade.
That's a valid suggestion, Faisal. We can plan for a phased rollout beginning with back-end improvements, followed by visual and process updates. I appreciate you bringing that up before we finalize our plan. To summarize today's discussion, first, we need to make post-purchase follow-up mandatory, incorporating automation to minimize time. Second, ensure the mobile-friendly integration is compatible with older devices. Third, improve the visibility of help documentation. Finally, implement a phased rollout to avoid overwhelming customers. Vocabulary and expression deep dive. Have you ever heard phrases in meetings that seem straightforward but you're unsure of their meaning? Let's clarify that. Skim through, meaning to review or discuss something in detail. Example, let's skim through the agenda before we start. On the same page, meaning to agree or have a shared understanding. Example, I want to ensure we're all on the same page about the timeline. Trade-off, meaning a balance between two factors, where gaining one may mean sacrificing another. Example, the trade-off is speed versus quality. From my perspective, meaning in my opinion. Example, from my perspective, post-purchase follow-up should be mandatory. I understand your concern, meaning a courteous way to acknowledge someone's worry before responding. Example, I understand your concern, but not all customers require the same follow-up. Alienating a segment, meaning making some customers feel excluded or unable to use the product. Example, we plan to implement a mobile-friendly integration, but will it also support older devices? If not, we risk alienating a segment of our customer base. Before we move on, meaning prior to changing the topic. Example, before we move on, I'd like to hear from Nina and Faisal. That's a valid suggestion, meaning indicating that your idea is reasonable and worth consideration. Example, that's a valid suggestion. We can plan a phased rollout. To summarize, meaning to briefly reiterate the main points. Example, to summarize today's discussion, follow-up is mandatory. We'll test older devices, improve help docs, and implement a phased rollout. Follow-up action notes, meaning a list of tasks to be completed after the meeting. Example, let's write our follow-up action notes so we know the next steps. Phased rollout, meaning introducing something gradually rather than all at once. Example, we can implement a phased rollout, starting with our top customers first. With these essential phrases, you can manage diverse opinions and disagreements effectively, leading to lively discussions. Let me share you a simple formula to help navigate a discussion for your next meeting. If you recall from the meeting dialogue, Maria raised an objection about not making post-purchase follow-up mandatory. In her opinion, skipping this step could risk the company losing repeat customers. Anna acknowledged the concern by saying, "Thank you for your perspective, Maria." She then proposed a solution. If the team agrees, we could consider making it mandatory for premium clients. Finally, she invited alignment from the rest of the team. By following this formula, you can confidently handle objections while keeping the discussion productive and collaborative. Speaking challenge. Objections don't just happen in sales. They also happen in meetings. And as a facilitator, your job is to guide the team forward. Today, we'll practice handling objections using a simple formula. Acknowledge, propose a solution, and get alignment. Okay, here's your first challenge. The budget barrier. If your team says, "This project will cost too much for our department," what would be your answer to them? Use the formula. Here's how you can respond. First, acknowledge the concern. I understand the budget concern. Then, propose a solution. Maybe we can start with a smaller pilot project to keep costs lower. Finally, get alignment. Team, how do you feel about testing it this way first? Now, your turn. Pause the video and try it out loud. Challenge number 2, the deadline dilemma. When your team member saying, "This deadline is unrealistic," what would be your answer? Acknowledge first. I know the timeline feels tight. Then, propose a solution. We could reprioritize tasks or add extra resources. And get alignment? Would that help us move forward more smoothly? All right, pause here and give it a try. Challenge number 3, team resistance. Team member, our team isn't ready for this change. Start with empathy. I understand that change feels challenging. Propose a solution. We can provide training sessions before rolling this out. And align with the group. Would the team be more comfortable with that support? Pause now and practice saying it. Challenge 4. The priority pushback. We already have too many projects on our plate. Step 1. Acknowledge. I hear your concern about workload. Step 2. Propose a solution. What if we integrate this project into our current workflow instead of adding extra tasks? Step 3. Get alignment. Would that make it more manageable for everyone? Now it's your turn. Pause and try it. See how simple it is? By acknowledging concerns, proposing solutions, and getting alignment, you transform objections into opportunities for collaboration. And that's the power of facilitation. We've listened, shadowed, learned new vocabulary, and practiced speaking under pressure. That's how you turn English knowledge into English confidence. For your homework, download the meeting template in the link below. Fill it in with your own meeting topic, key phrases, and follow-up notes. Then, role-play it with a friend or record yourself to track your improvement. Every time you practice, you're building the skill to speak clearly in real life, and soon, you won't even think about it, you'll just do it. Next series, we'll tackle small talk before meetings, because confidence starts before the meeting even begins.